Afternoon, committee. We have a couple that are gone as excused absence, so our plan is right now to do possible action on bills previously heard. And that's kind of what we have here today. So we have had hearings this week and discussions. Yesterday, a big, long discussion. So we will start with House Bill 2063. Committee, what is your pleasure on this bill moving? Representative Neely.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we pass HB 2063, favorable for passage.
Seconded by Roth. We will have discussion, and I should have said this to begin with. What we will do here to kind of expedite the matter, because everybody had a good opportunity yesterday. If you do want to speak on this during discussion, we'll give you 2 opportunities. So you want to speak on this bill? Any discussion?
Do we want to,
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's do that. Even though it was yesterday. So we have I'm sorry, I messed this one up. Just assume I did it right. So, Kyle, if you can just give us a quick brief again of this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2063 relates to state monies for conservation. It would establish the State Conservation Fund, and then the Working Lands Conservation Fund, the Wildlife Conservation Fund, and the Kansas Outdoors Fund. It would provide for the use of monies in such funds by the Kansas Department of Agriculture and the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks. It would require certain reports regarding such funds be made to the governor and the legislature each year. And it would authorize a transfer from the State General Fund to the State Conservation Fund. And in turn, it would authorize transfers from that State Conservation Fund to the 3 other funds, the Working Lands Conservation Fund, Wildlife Conservation Fund, and the Kansas Outdoors Fund. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Now, Representative Neely.
Let me say the same thing. I have an amendment. Actually, he has an amendment.
Kyle, if you pass it out, please. Thank you. Okay, Kyle, if you would explain this amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. The original bill would have transferred $60 million each fiscal year from the State General Fund to the new State Conservation Fund. The amendment would lower the amount transferred to the new fund each fiscal year to $16 million. The source of the money would no longer be the State General Fund. It would come from the State Gaming Revenues Fund. The $16 million would then be distributed on July 1 of each year as follows. $8 million would go to the Working Lands Conservation Fund that's established in Section 2 of the bill and is administered by the existing director of the Division of Conservation within the Kansas Department of Agriculture. And of that amount, up to $160,000 or 2% could be used for the administration of the fund. And you can see that language on page 2, line 17. Then $4 million would be transferred to the Wildlife Conservation Fund that is established in Section 3 and administered by the Secretary of Wildlife and Parks. Up to $80,000 of that amount, or 2%, could be used for the administration of the fund. That language is on page 3, line 41. And then the last 25% transferred or $4 million would go to the Kansas Outdoors Fund that is established in Section 4 and administered by the Secretary of Wildlife and Parks as part of the existing Parks Division. And again, an amount not to exceed 2% of that, or $80,000, could be used for the administration of the fund. That's on page 5, line 22. Additionally, in section 2 of the bill, that's back on page 3, in line 8, language concerning prioritization for the Working Lands Conservation Fund would be added. It would say applications related to land use practice included in subsection E that also provide tangible benefits to water quality or quantity shall be prioritized. In section 3, page 4, line 38, the current language concerning fee simple land acquisitions would be replaced with new language concerning prioritization for the Wildlife Conservation Fund. It would say, in support of Section 21 of the Bill of Rights of the Constitution of the State of Kansas, applications involving public access for purposes of hunting, fishing, trapping, or other consumptive recreation shall be prioritized. On the last page of the amendment, in the large box of text, you will see a new section 5 that would be added to the bill that would sunset the provisions of sections 1 through 4 on and after July 1, 2031. The last section being added would amend the State Gaming Revenues Fund to facilitate the annual transfer of $16 million to the State Conservation Fund. A transfer would be made each fiscal year starting June 25th, 2026, and ending with a final transfer on June 25th, 2030. Under current law, monies deposited into the State Gaming Revenues Fund are distributed to multiple other funds each year, including to the State General Fund. The amendment's $16 million transfer would be carved out of the money that would otherwise have been transferred from the State Gaming Revenues Fund to the State General Fund. And from what I've seen from different presentations, that's typically a little over $20 million each year that typically ends up going to the State General Fund. Here's, let's see, lastly, in order to sync up the June 25th transfer dates, the effective date of the bill would be changed from upon publication in the statute book to publication in the Kansas Register. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Kyle. Any questions for Kyle right quick before we Representative Mosier?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Kyle, I just want to confirm this, that normally about 20 million from the lottery proceeds goes to SGF?
That's what I gathered from some different presentations I've seen the lottery give to the legislature in recent years.
And so 16 million of that will go to this new fund?
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Other questions for Kyle? Representative Neely, any more comments on your amendment?
I just wanted one of the things we talked about, and I wanted to make sure that we talked about that this would not take any money away from the specific area that involves some of the other entities that are coming out of the gaming fund. Do you understand?
Yes, that is correct. This money that would be transferred to the new fund would be coming from the traditional lottery monies, from scratch-off tickets, et cetera. It specifically states that it would not include money from sports wagering, which to some extent is intermingled with the State Gaming Revenues Fund. So that would be excluded from this transfer. It would just be the traditional lottery monies.
Okay. Anybody else have questions on this, either for the maker of the amendment or the reviser? Representative Blex?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and congratulations. I think this is fantastic. This is exactly what pretty well satisfies everybody. It's brought the dollars down, and I think the group's goal was to get a dedicated fund. This serves as a super pilot project for a 5-year period. We can evaluate it, future legislators can look at it, and tweak it and deal with it. So thank you for whoever done all that hard work.
With questions? Representative Gardner?
A comment on this. As I understand this, this does not change the structure of this, which was my concern to start with. We've got programs that do all of these things but are underfunded today. And so we're taking revenue that would have been in the state general fund. We've not generated any new funds or new money, and now we're allocating it to new programs that duplicate basically in different ways what we're already doing. And so I'm not in favor of, even though this reduces the amount, where we're not coming up with any new revenue, I can't support this any more than the original bill. Thank you.
Okay. Representative Neely?
Yeah, I just wanted to answer a little bit on that. We even talked about this yesterday in that some of the funds you're talking about would actually benefit from this. They're going to be able to get federal funds, matching federal funds that will help that they've never been able to get before. And so this is going to be a benefit for the actual agencies and things that you're talking about.
Representative
Thank you, Mr.
Roth,
Chairman.
long
Oh,
day,
great
long
chairman
week, yes.
of all knowledge and wisdom.
Better today.
Eagles have a song, you know, I'm a musician, and Eagles have a song, and there's a line in there, you can see the stars, but you still can't see the light. And I have to echo what your vice chair said. This just gives all these other agencies another opportunity and bucket of money to distribute to benefit Kansas and Kansans. And so, and Representative Blex, thank you for your comments because they're spot on. And thanks for all the work on this because it's really, really good. And it's going to benefit Kansans. And it just gives these agencies another bucket of money to benefit Kansas. So thank you very much for letting me speak.
Representative Mosier?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a general question. So has the state of Kansas never had a dedicated conservation fund? No. Never? How have we allocated dollars to conservation in the past?
Representative Blex?
Kansas Wildlife and Parks is a fee agency. We've charged the hunters and fishermen a fee license, so they've supported a lot of taxpayers, bird watchers that don't pay a dime, kayakers that come to boat ramps that don't have a dollar in the game. So it's been on the backs of Fish and Wildlife license buyers as a fee agency for umpteen years in conjunction with the PR, Pittman-Robertson Act at the federal level, and the DJ, which involves the fisheries portion of that reapportionment of federal funds based on sales tax manufacturer level, based on the number of licensed buyers within each state. So that's how it's been funded. Not the general taxpayers. Now, the old park system years ago used to be about 50%, and they've actually got weaned off when they come into, the old park authority come into Wildlife and Parks or Fish and Game in 1987, I believe. They basically started weaning them down, and they went into higher fees where, you know, a user pay. That's always been the concept, a user pay. Whatever it cost, you know, they paid it, and they have. They've opened their billfolds up. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, so conservation monies for farmers to put in terraces or clean up waterways, that kind of thing, did that all come out of the wildlife, or where does that, is that all federal money? That's
Most of
mostly federal money? Okay. Okay.
So, the old
The Soil Conservation Service,
Soil Conservation
SCS. Okay.
Service. And then it went through the state process. State had a little bit of money, and then over time developed into the Division of Conservation within KDA or the Water Office, so on and so forth. And so most of those conservation efforts were done as part of farm bills over the years, and soil bank and
CRP and,
CRP, which is a program that we don't want to emulate because it's, now 40 years old almost. We thought it was going to be gone after we started shaving, but it just kept
when I
going.
got married, my husband's family had land in Soil Bank.
Oh, sure.
So thank you very much. But there's never been an excess of conservation funds across the state for farmers and ranchers to do this.
No, what part of that is some of the things, the CREP programs, so the other programs, they may be run through the state, but it's private, the state may be, one of the state agencies may be a contractor. Those come from the feds, most of them. I mean, they're having a few things along the way, but primarily, the state's portion has been, just exactly that, a portion to draw down some federal funds or farmers and ranchers to be involved in those federal programs to get those.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just might also comment, if we would have had conservation money the last 50 or 100 years, we wouldn't be probably facing the sedimentation problems we're facing in our reservoirs, the erosions of the streams, along farmers' fields, all those kinds of things. So I'm looking forward to voting yes on this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Representative Minix.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if it'd be possible to calculate the amount of leverage we can get out of this. A couple years ago on a water bill, I asked KDHE what we were not receiving from the feds because we didn't have match. It was like $270 million a year that they might qualify for. After we did the 2302 bill, they told me that brought in close to 70 million, and I think they got 12 or 14 million in help over in KDHE. But there's another side of it too. It's like Stephen Frost's Division of Conservation within the Department of Ag. We had an RCPP grant from the feds, and it got pulled back. He offered some funds that we put into an ITI program, and the groundwater management districts are hiring. They're still hiring technicians to go out and evaluate center pivots, and it's kind of like 10% in, and then the farmer is investing maybe 90% or something. So we're getting leverage from the federal level and also from our producers level. So I think it would be really hard to come up with a fiscal note on what the benefit of this might be. Obviously, it looks like $16 million a year. I look at what benefit we can gain from that in a leverage situation. Those are just a couple of examples.
Representative Neely.
Real quickly, I just wanted to say one of the important things that we made sure was in here was the fact that probably not the first year, but the year after, there will be a yearly analysis and report on what happens with that. And hopefully we can show within that report what the money did and how it did benefit. And I'm anxious to see that report myself too, so that we can show the good that this is accomplished. And I close on my amendment. We did. Featherston.
Okay, all those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Amendment is on. Any other discussions on the bill? Sorry, this is clunky. This is the first one this year. I'm sorry. I forget this stuff till we get back in. Any other discussion on the bill? Seeing none, Representative Neely, you may close.
I close.
You have heard the motion. Second by Featherston. All those in favor of passing out House Bill 2063, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. House Bill 2063 passes favorably.
As amended.
As amended. I apologize.
Does anybody want to record the vote?
Does anybody want to record their vote? Representative Fairchild as a no? Okay. Representative Gardner's a no? Black's a yes.
I'll take that yes.
Sling and Seepin and Featherston, a yes. Roth, a yes. Representative Rozier, a yes. That's all right. All right. Anything else? Anyone else? Okay. Upon kind of review and talking with a few of you, I would suggest we take House Bill 2547, just keep it still here. I don't think it's quite ready to be worked. So that was the Chauncey bill on the stamp. I don't know if we're quite ready for that one yet. So it'll be put back in with the bills that we have assigned to our committee. Okay, no meeting tomorrow. Our meeting will be on Monday, where we'll have a hearing on House Bill 2582, that is establishing veterinary medicine in rural Kansas program. I believe it's the VMRK. And then that'll be within KDA, and also provide some financial assistance support to veterinarians practicing in rural communities. So we'll learn more about that on Monday. And so we do have a pretty busy week. We'll have then we'll have more hearings throughout the week. Look at your agenda, and we will plan on at least just seeing about working these other bills that we have had. We're still waiting for a couple more to get in, and that's, if you look at the agenda, it'll be the discussion on the rural attorneys. We're waiting for a number for. We have an addition to what we heard last year on the rural attorney bill with some things. So that's kind of why that's there as a hold until we get that number, just so you're aware of why that is. But we are also not planning to meet next Friday either. Any other announcements for the committee? Seeing none, drive safe, and we will see you Monday. We are adjourned.